Okay, so I want to show you two more things you can use masking for that's really cool. The first will be we'll create another new solid, so layer new solid, and we'll just call this vignette. And right now it's, 100% opacity, it's covering up our image. But if I take my mask pen tool here and I just click and drag and I just kind of make an interesting shape around here, it doesn't have to be perfect. And if I open up my mask properties and I say I want to subtract or I want to invert it, and then I open up the feather properties and I really feather this, you can see I've just created a very nice, simple vignette. And the vignette is something that, shows up on the edges of our frames. It's always a nice effect to add to finish off a piece. It's not always appropriate, depending on what you're working on, but vignettes are used all the time in film and motion graphics and can really polish a piece off. So I could continue to tweak this. What I did there is I just double clicked on a point and it selected all those points. And by holding down Shift and Option or Shift Command, I can drag all these points in. I could make a really heavy mask. Maybe I animate this mask. I set a point here and I go to 2 seconds and I hit N on the keyboard to say I want my work area to end here. And then I double click and I hold down Shift Command again and I bring it up, something like that. And I hit 0 on my number pad. So very simple but effective technique. And then I want to show you one other quick thing you can do with masking, which is pretty cool. And this will be called reflection. And back here in my Finder, I'm going to open up my reflection, drag it in here, bring it to my timeline. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of create a reflection on this image. So I want this image to reflect down here, like maybe it's water. So how I would do that is I'd kind of bring this image up. I'd select my image here and I'd go to Edit, Duplicate, or Command D. And now I've got 2 copies of that layer. This bottom layer, I'm going to hit S for scale. And this little guy right here, this is constrained proportions. It says that if this is on, if I scale this first number up, it's going to scale the second number up the same amount. If I scale this first number down, it's going to scale that second number down as well. If I turn it off and I scale this, it's only going to scale the horizontal. If I do this, it's only going to scale the Y value, the vertical. So what I'm going to do here is actually, I'm going to take this back to 100. But for the second number, the vertical, I'm going to say it's a negative 100. Now, all of a sudden, I have this image that's upside down. If I turn on my top layer, there are the 2 layers. I'm going to kind of bring them up. I'm just going to kind of match them to taste. That's pretty interesting. Now, on this bottom layer, I'm going to select my rectangle tool, and I am going to click and drag, and I'm creating a big giant mask. Oh, something like so. On just this bottom layer, right? And now if I open up this mask and I say on the feather, I want to also not constrain proportions. I only want to feather the vertical. I don't want to feather the sides. So I'll go ahead and feather the vertical. And this is just to make the image look like it's kind of fading out, right? Like a reflection's never very, rarely is it 100% opaque, like it's the exact reflection of the object above. A lot of times it kind of fades out. So now I have a heavy feather, 228 pixels. I'm just selecting this mask and I'm just bringing it down because I want to not show this hard edge here, right? So I'm bringing it down, to taste, something like there. I'm going to create a background. So I'll just call this background. And it's just a layer that's a solid. And I'm going to take it to the back and drag it to the bottom of the stack. And now I'm going to select that mask again. Maybe something like so. And then maybe I would open up transparency here on the image, reduce the transparency down just a little bit. And then again, take a mask point and I'm hitting Command A to select all of these. And I'm just kind of repositioning the mask again. Maybe I'll turn that opacity back up to like 85. Something like so. So water reflections are never typically perfect. So I would see that this would probably have a little bit of blur in it. Maybe like a ripple effect. So I'm gonna go up to blur and sharpen. I'm gonna go up to CC radial blur. And I'm just gonna turn this up just a hair. 3. And I'm gonna turn the transparency back up on my layer. I'm gonna take the top layer, bottom layer. Just gonna drag these up a little bit here. Then I'm just going to fine tune the center point of that effect. I'm just going to maybe move it somewhere up in here. Yeah, so it's just kind of subtle. And there you go. So that's a pretty cool reflection. It's looks like it's reflecting on the water. I can see a little bit of the edge there. I'll bring this down just a hair. That works for me. So that's an easy way to create reflection of typography, of images, of footage, whatever, using masks. And that's what I got for you on masks. I hope you guys learned something new. And let's move on.